Welcome to Hypnos Cosmos. Settle yourself now, and let your body grow heavy and still. There is nowhere you need to be tonight, and nothing you need to do but rest. Tonight we are going to follow a pull. A vast, silent, invisible pull, reaching across 150 million light-years of empty space, a pull that has hold of our galaxy, and everything in it, and you, right now, as you lie here. We are being drawn toward something enormous, something hidden, something we still do not fully understand. They call it the Great Attractor. And tonight we are going to drift, slowly and without fear, all the way toward it, into one of the deepest mysteries in all the sky, and it will carry you gently down into sleep. So let us begin, as always, with a single breath. Breathe in, slowly, and let the air fill you, without any effort at all. And let it go. Breathe in once more, and let it fall away, and feel your shoulders soften, and your body sink a little deeper into the bed. There is no right way to do this. Simply let the breath come and go on its own, like a slow tide, in and out, as it has all your life, without you ever once having to ask. Let the day fall away from you first, before we begin. Whatever it held, its noise, its small worries, the 100 little things it asked of you, let it all loosen now, and slip from your shoulders, like a heavy coat set down at the end of a long walk. You do not need any of it where we are going. Tonight there is nothing to carry and nothing to do, only a great gentle current to drift upon, and one deep mystery to wonder at, and sleep waiting quietly at the end of it all. So let the day go. It has had its hours. This hour is for rest. Feel your breathing begin to slow and deepen, all on its own. Feel the soft weight of the covers over you, the give of the pillow beneath your head, the warmth gathering slowly around your body. And let the room grow dim and quiet in your mind, its edges softening, its walls falling gently away, until there is only you, and the warm dark, and the slow rise and fall of your own breath. Feel the weight of yourself now, held by the bed, held by the soft turning earth beneath it. You feel perfectly still, do you not? The room is still. The bed is still. Your body is at rest. Everything around you is quiet and motionless and calm. Let your eyes close, and settle into that lovely stillness. And now let me tell you a secret, gently, while you rest in all that quiet. You are not still at all. You are moving faster, right now, than anything you can imagine. The earth beneath you is spinning, carrying you around its axis at over 1,000 kilometers every hour. And the earth is racing around the sun, sweeping through space at 30 kilometers every second, 108,000 kilometers an hour. And the sun, carrying the earth and all the planets with it, is sweeping around the great wheel of our galaxy at more than 200 kilometers every second. And the whole galaxy, the entire Milky Way, 400 billion suns and you among them, is itself falling through space, drawn by the pull we are following tonight, at some 600 kilometers every second. 2 million kilometers an hour. 2 million kilometers an hour. And you feel nothing. You feel only the soft bed, the warm covers, the perfect stillness of a quiet room. This is one of the strangest and most beautiful truths in all of science, that you can be hurtling through the universe at unimaginable speed, in half a dozen directions at once, and feel utterly, peacefully still. Motion, out here, is silent. There is no wind of it, no rush, no sense of speed at all, only stillness, and rest, and the quiet dark. Consider how strange and how gentle this is. If you were in a car at 2 million kilometers an hour, you would be crushed to nothing in an instant. If you were on a train moving even 1,000th as fast, the wind and the shaking would tear you apart. And yet here you are, hurtling through the depths of the cosmos faster than any machine could ever carry you, faster than a rifle bullet, faster than the fastest thing human hands have ever built, and you feel a perfect, velvet stillness. Not a tremor. Not a breath of wind. Nothing at all but the soft weight of the covers and the quiet of the room. Why? Because there is nothing to push against, and nothing to compare yourself to. The Earth carries its air along with it, and the Sun carries the Earth, and the galaxy carries the Sun, all together, all at once, so that nothing near you is moving relative to you at all. You and the air and the bed and the whole room are all sweeping through space together, in perfect step, like passengers on a ship so vast and so smooth that no one aboard can tell it is moving at all. There is no jolt, because there is nothing to jolt against. There is no wind, because the air travels with you. There is only the great smooth silent gliding of everything, together, through the dark. And is that not the loveliest way to travel? To be carried at unimaginable speed, and feel only stillness. To go on the longest journey there is, and never leave your bed. You are on a voyage tonight, a real one, across real and enormous distances, and the voyage asks nothing of you, costs you nothing, disturbs you not at all. You have only to lie still, and be carried, as you have been carried every night of your life, sweeping silently through the cosmos while you sleep. So let that be the first gift of tonight. You do not have to choose between moving and resting. You are doing both, always, every moment of your life. You are being carried at 2 million kilometers an hour through the depths of the cosmos, and all you have to do, all you have ever had to do, is lie still, and breathe, and be carried. The universe does the moving. You only have to rest. And you might wonder, if we feel no motion at all, if there is no wind and no rush and no sense of speed, then how could anyone possibly know that we are moving? How can we measure the speed of the whole galaxy through space, when we are riding along inside it, feeling perfectly still? It is a beautiful question, and the answer is one of the loveliest measurements in all of science. It turns out that the universe has, in a sense, a great faint background glow, an even, gentle warmth filling all of space in every direction, the afterglow of the universe's own fiery birth, cooled now over billions of years to a whisper just a few degrees above the coldest cold there is. It comes at us from everywhere, this ancient glow, softly, from every corner of the sky. And if we were truly, perfectly still, it would look exactly the same in every direction, the same faint warmth, above and below, left and right, all around. But it does not. When we measure that ancient glow with great care, we find that it is very slightly warmer in one particular direction, and very slightly cooler in the opposite direction, warmer in the direction we are moving, cooler in the direction we have come from, just as the air feels warmer on your face when you run forward into it. And from the exact size of that faint warm and cool pattern, we can read our own speed, our true motion, against the ancient backdrop of the whole universe. And the number that comes out is that our galaxy, carrying the Sun and the Earth and you, is sweeping through space at some 600 kilometers every second, toward that point in the southern sky. We are moving against the oldest light there is, and the oldest light itself tells us how fast we go. Think of what that ancient light is, for it is a wonder in its own right. It is the afterglow of the universe's birth, light set free when the whole cosmos was young and hot, only a few 100,000 years old, when everything cooled just enough for light to travel freely for the first time. That light has been crossing space ever since, for nearly 14 billion years, stretching and cooling as the universe expanded, until now it reaches us not as the blinding fire it once was, but as the faintest, gentlest warmth, filling all of space, coming softly from every direction at once. It is the same everywhere, to better than 1 part in 100,000, the smoothest, most even thing in all the universe, a perfect gentle glow wrapping the whole of creation. And it is against this perfect, ancient, even glow that we measure our motion. Because we are moving through it, it is very slightly warmed ahead of us and very slightly cooled behind, the tiniest imaginable difference, a warmth of a few thousandths of a degree more in the direction we are heading. and from that tiny warmth, we read our speed against the whole universe. It is as though the cosmos left us a gift at its very birth, a perfectly still, perfectly even backdrop, laid down at the beginning of time, against which we could one day measure our own quiet drift. And when we finally learned to read it, it told us, you are moving, at 600 kilometers a second, toward the Great Attractor, along with everything you know. There is something deeply moving in that, to carry down toward sleep, that the light of the universe's own beginning, still gently glowing all around us after 14 billion years, is the very thing that tells us where we are going. The oldest light there is, whispering to us of the great current that carries us home. Let it whisper to you now, softly, from every direction, that ancient gentle warmth, holding you, surrounding you, telling you that you are moving, and carried, and exactly where you should be, as you drift toward rest. Is that not a wonderful thing? That we, lying still, feeling nothing, can look at the faint warm glow of the universe's own beginning and read from it the speed of our whole galaxy through the cosmos. We are not lost, drifting blindly. We know exactly how fast we move, and in which direction, measured against the birth glow of everything. And tonight, we are going to find out what is doing the pulling. We are going to follow that great silent current all the way to its source. Let a picture begin to form, behind your closed eyes. We are rising, gently, up and away from the Earth, up past the Moon, past the Sun, up out of the flat crowded plane of the galaxy, until the whole Milky Way spreads out below us, a great slow wheel of light turning in the dark. And now, from up here, we can begin to see something we could never feel from down on the ground. We can see that the whole galaxy is moving. It is drifting, steadily, in one particular direction, through the sea of other galaxies around it, like a single leaf being carried down a slow, wide, invisible river. And it is not alone. Our galaxy has companions, the little family of galaxies we belong to, the local group, with Andromeda and a few dozen smaller ones. And they are all moving too, all together, all drifting the same way, all being carried down the same great current. Something is pulling on all of us at once. Something far away, and far larger than anything we can see. Something that has been pulling for billions of years, and is pulling still, tonight, on every galaxy in our neighborhood, and on the Sun, and on the Earth, and on you. Let us go and find it. Let us drift down that great invisible river, in no hurry at all, and follow the pull to its source. And as we go, I will tell you the whole strange story of how we came to know it was there, a story of hidden mass, and a veil across the sky, and a mystery that is still, even now, not entirely solved. It is one of the great unsolved wonders of the cosmos, and it is a perfect thing to drift toward as you fall asleep, because some of it, we simply do not know, and there is a deep peace in that. We are going to travel toward a question. And you may fall asleep long before we reach the end of it, and that is exactly right. Because there is a particular kind of peace that comes only from a mystery, from a question with no final answer, and it is a peace worth settling into as you drift. So much of waking life is spent solving, deciding, pinning things down, needing to know. But the Great Attractor is a thing that even the wisest people alive do not fully understand. They can feel its pull, and trace its flows, and peer through the veil at the clusters hidden behind it, and still, at the center of it, there remains a genuine mystery. How much mass, exactly, and how far, and how much is the attractor and how much is Shapley beyond it, and why the flow is quite as large as it is. There are still open questions here, still things argued over gently in quiet rooms, still corners of the map marked only here, something vast, we are not entirely sure what. And that is not a failure. That is one of the loveliest things the universe offers us, a wonder that is still wondering, a question still being asked. You do not have to solve it tonight. No one has to solve it tonight. You are allowed, for these few hours, to set down the need to know, and simply drift toward the mystery, and let it be beautiful precisely because it is unfinished. There is a deep rest in that, in being carried toward something you do not understand and do not need to understand, in trusting the pull without seeing its source, in letting the great unsolved question hold you gently as you fall asleep. Not everything must be answered. Some things are only to be felt, and wondered at, and drifted toward, in the dark. Breathe in, slowly. And out. And let yourself begin to drift, down the great current, toward the pull, toward the mystery, toward sleep. Let us drift a while, first, and get our bearings, because to understand the pull, you have to understand where we are, and how we sit among the galaxies. You know, by now, the ladder of it. Our Sun is one star among 400 billion in the Milky Way. Our galaxy is one of a small family, the local group, bound together by gravity, us, and the great spiral of Andromeda, and little Triangulum, and some dozens of dwarf galaxies, all drifting together through the dark. And the local group, in turn, sits near the edge of something larger, a great flattened crowd of galaxies called the Virgo cluster, and all the galaxies scattered around it, spread across 100 million light-years. This whole region, the local group, the Virgo cluster, and thousands of galaxies around them, was once called our local supercluster. Our neighborhood, at the very largest scale a neighborhood can mean. And for a long time, people imagined that all these galaxies were simply drifting apart, gently and evenly, carried outward by the slow expansion of the universe. Because that is the great background motion of everything, space itself is expanding, stretching, everywhere at once, carrying the galaxies away from one another like markings on a balloon being slowly blown up. The further away a galaxy is, the faster it drifts from us. That is the steady, even, expected motion of the cosmos, and it is very well understood. But galaxies do not only drift with the expansion. They also fall. Wherever there is a great concentration of mass, a heavy cluster, a crowd of galaxies, its gravity reaches out and tugs on everything nearby, pulling galaxies toward it, on top of the general expansion. And so each galaxy has two motions blended together, the smooth outward drift of the expanding universe, and a smaller, private, peculiar motion, a falling, this way or that, toward whatever heavy thing is pulling hardest. Astronomers call this second motion a galaxy's peculiar velocity. And it is in these peculiar velocities, these small private fallings, that the Great Attractor first revealed itself. It is a delicate thing to measure, this private falling, and it is worth understanding how gentle a signal it is. When you look at a distant galaxy, almost all of its motion is the ordinary expansion of the universe, carrying it away from us, a great, smooth, predictable receding, faster the further off it lies. The peculiar velocity, the falling toward something, is only a small extra nudge on top of that great smooth flow, a few hundred kilometers a second, against an expansion of thousands. To find it, you must first know very precisely how far away the galaxy is, by some means that does not depend on its motion at all, by measuring its true brightness, or its true size, and comparing to how faint or how small it appears. And then you compare the speed you would expect from the pure expansion at that distance to the speed you actually measure, and the small difference between them, that faint remainder, is the galaxy's private falling. Its peculiar velocity. The whisper of the pull. It is painstaking work. You must measure the distance and the speed of galaxy after galaxy, hundreds of them, thousands, each one a faint smudge of ancient light, and tease out from each a small and uncertain number, and then look for a pattern in all those small numbers together. And the wonder is that a pattern is there. That when you gather enough of these faint whispers, they line up, they all lean the same way, they all point toward the same hidden place. Out of thousands of tiny, uncertain measurements, a giant emerges. It is like listening to a vast, quiet crowd and slowly realizing that everyone, faintly, is leaning in the same direction, toward something none of them can see. let that patient listening be a comfort as you drift, the sense that even the faintest signals, gathered gently and with care, reveal the great shape of things. Here is how we found it. When you look at a distant galaxy, you can measure how fast it is moving toward you or away from you, very precisely, by looking at its light. As a galaxy moves away, its light is stretched, shifted toward the red end of the spectrum, the famous redshift, and the faster it recedes, the more its light is reddened. So by measuring the exact color shift of a galaxy's light, you can measure its speed with great accuracy. And if the universe were simply expanding, smoothly and evenly, then every galaxy's speed should follow a simple rule: the further away, the faster it recedes, in perfect proportion, in every direction the same. But when astronomers measured carefully, and this took decades of patient, painstaking work, measuring the speeds of hundreds and then thousands of galaxies all across the sky, they found that the galaxies were not quite behaving. There was something extra. On top of the smooth expansion, there was a drift. A whole enormous region of galaxies, our own included, was streaming together in one particular direction, all falling the same way, all pulled by something off in the distance. Not just our galaxy. Not just the local group. Hundreds of galaxies, spread across an enormous swathe of space, all moving together, all leaning the same way, like a great field of grass all bent by the same wind. They called it the bulk flow. A vast, coordinated streaming of galaxies, over 500 million light-years wide, all drifting together at hundreds of kilometers a second toward a single point in the sky. Something out there was pulling on an entire region of the universe. Something with the gravitational grip of tens of thousands of galaxies. And whatever it was, it lay in one particular direction, off in the southern sky, in the direction of the constellation Centaurus and Norma, 150 million light-years away and more. And there is a lovely human story in how this was found, worth telling softly as we drift. In the 1980s, a group of 7 astronomers set out to map the motions of galaxies, to measure, for hundreds of galaxies across the sky, not just how far away they were but how fast and which way they were truly moving, once you accounted for the ordinary expansion of the universe. It was slow, painstaking work, galaxy by galaxy, night after night, gathering the faint light of one distant island of stars after another and teasing out its speed. The 7 of them worked together so closely, and their task was so demanding, that other astronomers gave them a fond nickname, the 7 Samurai. And as their map grew, galaxy by galaxy, a pattern emerged that none of them had expected. All across a great region of the sky, the galaxies were streaming, not scattering randomly, not simply drifting apart with the expansion, but flowing, together, coherently, in one direction, as if some vast unseen thing were drawing them all the same way. Hundreds of galaxies, our own among them, all leaning toward the same point in the southern sky. There had to be something there, something enormous, something with the gravitational pull of a great mass of galaxies, even though, when they looked in that direction, they could see nothing remarkable enough to explain it. They gave the unseen thing a name that captured both what it did and how little they understood it. The Great Attractor. Imagine the quiet thrill of that moment of realizing, from a table full of numbers, that our entire galaxy, and everything we know, is being drawn silently toward something vast and invisible in the dark, something no one had ever suspected was there. It is one of the things I love most about this whole story, that it was found not by seeing, but by noticing a pattern in how things move, by paying such careful, patient attention to the drift of distant galaxies that the shape of an unseen giant emerged from the numbers. The universe gives up its secrets to the patient, the careful, the quietly attentive. And you are being quiet and attentive now, in your own gentle way, lying still in the dark, letting the great slow shape of things reveal itself to you as you drift toward sleep. And that first map was only the beginning. In all the years since, astronomers have gone on measuring, galaxy after galaxy, thousands of them, then tens of thousands, gathering the faint light of ever more distant islands of stars, teasing out ever more of those small private fallings, building ever larger and more detailed maps of how the whole nearby universe moves. Great surveys, patient collaboration spanning decades and continents, have charted the motions of the galaxies across ever greater volumes of space, refining the picture year by year, filling in the flows, tracing the currents further and further out. It is slow, unglamorous, painstaking work, no single dramatic discovery, but the steady, patient accumulation of measurement upon measurement, until the great shape of the cosmic currents emerges from the numbers, clearer and clearer, like a photograph developing slowly in the dark. And even now, the picture is not quite settled. There are still gentle arguments about exactly how large the Great Flow is, and how far it extends, and how much of it the Great Attractor explains, and how much must come from Shapley and beyond. Some surveys find the flow reaching further and running faster than the simple picture predicts, others find it more modest. The maps are still being drawn, still being argued over, still being refined. We are, even now, in the middle of the story, still measuring, still wondering, still slowly making out the great shape of the currents that carry us. And there is a quiet grandeur in the sheer scale of what these patient measurements revealed, that the flow is not some local eddy, not a small drift of a few nearby galaxies, but a coordinated streaming of an entire region of the universe, hundreds of millions of light-years across, all leaning the same way. When you first learn that our galaxy is falling toward something, you might picture a small motion, a gentle local tug. But the truth is far grander. The Milky Way, and Andromeda, and the whole local group, and the Great Virgo cluster with its thousands of galaxies, and countless other galaxies spread across an enormous swathe of space, all of them, together, are streaming the same way, drawn by the same great pull, part of the same vast flow. It is one of the largest coordinated motions ever measured, a river of galaxies wider than the mind can hold, and we are a single drop within it. Sit with that for a moment, gently, as you drift. You are not falling alone, and not even with just your galaxy, or just your local group. You are falling with an entire province of the cosmos, thousands upon thousands of galaxies, all sliding the same silent way, all bound into the same great current. There is something profoundly companionable in that, something that dissolves any sense of being small or lost. You belong to a vast migration. You move with a great and silent multitude. And all of it, every galaxy of it, is drifting exactly as you are drifting now, softly, patiently, without effort or fear, down toward the quiet, in the dark. There is something deeply peaceful in that unfinishedness, in being part of a story still being told. We do not have the final map. We may never have it. But we have enough to know the great truth of it, that we are flowing, that we are carried, that we belong to a vast and gentle current whose broad shape we can trace even if we cannot yet fill in every detail. And that is enough. That is more than enough. You do not need the finished map to let the river carry you. You do not need to know every bend to drift downstream. You need only trust the current, and lean into it, and let it take you softly along, as it has carried the galaxies for all the ages, and as it carries you now, toward the quiet, toward sleep. Let us drift on, then, down the great flow, in no hurry, following the current that so many patient watchers have charted, down toward the hidden heart of it all, the great valley at the bottom of the immeasurable heaven. And as we drift, let the great region reveal its parts, for the Great Attractor is not one single thing but a great gathering of gatherings. In its direction lie several great clusters and clumps of galaxies, all near one another, all adding their pull together. There is the Norma cluster, deepest and most hidden, near the very bottom of the valley. There is the Great Centaurus cluster, a rich crowd of galaxies just at the edge of the veil, one of the nearest large clusters to us. There is the Hydra cluster, and the loose sprawling crowd of galaxies around them, and the long chains and sheets of galaxies that thread between. all of it together, cluster upon cluster, sheet upon sheet, all in roughly the same direction, all bound into one great overdense region, is what we feel as the Great Attractor. It is a whole province of the universe, heavier than its surroundings, and its combined gravity is the pull that draws us. And some of this great region we can see, just at the edges, spilling out beyond the veil where our galaxy's dust grows thin. On dark clear nights, from the southern half of the Earth, the very nearest of these great clusters lie in the direction of the constellation Centaurus and Hydra, patches of sky that hold, if you could only see them, hundreds upon hundreds of galaxies, the near shore of the Great Attractor, the visible edge of the great gathering that pulls us. The light you would see from them, if your eyes were keen enough, set out 200 million years ago and more, and has been crossing the dark ever since, to arrive faintly now, in the southern sky, from the direction of the pull. People have looked up at that patch of sky for all of human history, never knowing that behind it, and through it, lay the great unseen thing drawing our whole galaxy on. Drift among these great clusters now, gently, in your mind, through the Centaurus cluster with its hundreds of galaxies, past the hidden Norma cluster deep behind the veil, through the long bright sheets of galaxies that run between them, all of it glowing softly in the dark, all of it drawing everything slowly toward its heart. It is a vast and crowded and ancient place, this great overdensity, this heaping up of galaxies that has been gathering, patiently, for the whole age of the universe. And it goes on gathering still. Slowly, over billions of years, the galaxies drift in from all around, drawn down the flows, adding themselves to the great crowd. We are one of them, on our way in, drifting down our own long thread toward the gathering, in no hurry, over ages beyond counting. Let the slowness of it soothe you. Nothing here is rushing. The galaxies drift in at a few hundred kilometers a second, which sounds fast, and is nothing at all against these distances, a journey of billions of years, so gentle that from any moment it looks like perfect stillness. The great gathering has all the time there is, and so do you. There is no deadline to arrive by, no hurry to reach the heart, no need to be anywhere by any particular time. There is only the long, slow, patient drifting, down the flow, toward the quiet, and you may take as long as you like, and fall asleep anywhere along the way, and that is exactly as it should be. Let that name settle over you as we drift, softly, down the current toward it. The Great Attractor. A thing known only by its pull. A vast, hidden mass, felt across hundreds of millions of light-years, drawing whole crowds of galaxies toward it, and yet, at first, entirely unseen, hidden from every telescope, a gravitational ghost betrayed only by the streaming of the galaxies it moved. For a long while, no one could say what it was, or even see it at all. They could only feel it, the way you might feel, in the dark, the slope of a hill beneath your feet, and know that if you stopped holding still, you would begin, gently, to roll downward toward the bottom of the valley. There is a lovely gentleness in the idea of falling down a slope you cannot see. On Earth, if you stand on a hillside, you feel the slope, your muscles work to hold you in place, and if you relax, you begin to roll or slide downward, and you feel the pull of it in your body. But out here, falling toward the Great Attractor, there is no such feeling. The slope is made of gravity alone, spread across hundreds of millions of light years, and it is so gentle, so smooth, so evenly spread, that nothing feels it at all. There is no sense of tilt, no sense of downhill, no strain of holding on. There is only the falling itself, silent, effortless, imperceptible, and everything falls together so that nothing is left behind to mark the motion. It is the gentlest possible way to be moved, to be drawn down a slope so smooth and so vast that you cannot feel it, along with everything around you, at a speed beyond imagining, and to experience the whole thing as perfect stillness. That is what gravity does, at these scales. It does not push or shove or hurry. It simply tilts the whole of space, ever so gently, toward the heavy places, and lets everything roll softly down. And we roll with it, all of us, all the galaxies, all the stars, all the worlds, down the great smooth invisible hill, forever, and it feels like floating. We are on that slope now. We have always been on it. The whole galaxy is rolling, slowly, silently, down the long invisible slope toward the Great Attractor, and has been since before the Earth was born. And you are rolling with it, this very moment, warm and still in your bed, carried down the great gentle hill of gravity toward a valley you cannot see. There is nothing to do about it. There is nothing to fear in it. It is the slowest, smoothest, most silent falling there is. Let yourself feel it, softly, not as motion, but as a kind of gentle leaning, a being drawn, a being carried. You are falling, endlessly, toward something vast and quiet in the dark. And it feels exactly like lying still. But here is where the mystery deepens, and here is the strangest, most frustrating, most wonderful part of the whole story. Because when astronomers turned their telescopes toward the Great Attractor to see what was pulling us, they found that they could not look at it. Something was in the way. And the something in the way was our own galaxy. We live inside the Milky Way, inside its flat, crowded disk of stars and gas and dust. And the direction of the Great Attractor, off in the southern sky toward Centaurus and Norma, lies almost exactly in the plane of that disk, right through the thickest, dustiest, most crowded part of our own galaxy. And so, when we look toward the Great Attractor, we are trying to see through a wall of billions of foreground stars, and vast dark clouds of dust, all belonging to our own galaxy, blazing and blotting out the view of everything beyond. The dust absorbs the light of the distant galaxies behind it. The crowd of near stars drowns them out. And the great crucial region of the sky, right where the pull comes from, is simply hidden, veiled, obscured, blanked out. Astronomers have a name for this hidden band across the sky. They call it the zone of avoidance, because the galaxies beyond it seem to avoid it, not because they are truly absent, but because we cannot see them through the veil of our own galaxy's dust. For most of the history of astronomy, the zone of avoidance was simply a blank, a great dark stripe running right around the sky, a fifth of the whole heavens, where the universe beyond was hidden from us. And by the strangest and most fascinating of coincidences, the Great Attractor, the very thing pulling our entire region of the universe, sits almost squarely behind that veil. Think of what that means. There is something out there so massive that it is dragging our galaxy and thousands of others across hundreds of millions of light years. And we cannot see it. It is hidden behind the glare and dust of our own home. We know it is there only because we can feel its pull, because we can watch the galaxies streaming toward it, and trace their motion back, like following the way water flows to find where the valley must lie. For decades, that was all we had, a pull from behind a curtain, a great weight we could feel but never look upon. There is something deeply peaceful in that image, as you lie here drifting toward sleep. A vast, unseen thing, felt but not seen, drawing everything gently toward it from behind a veil. We spend so much of our lives straining to see clearly, to have every answer. And here is the universe itself, keeping one of its greatest secrets behind a curtain we cannot fully part, and it does not matter at all. The pull is real whether we can see its source or not. We are carried whether we understand it or not. You do not have to see the bottom of the valley to roll gently down toward it. You do not have to understand sleep to fall into it. Some things you simply feel, and trust, and let carry you. But we are a patient and clever species, and we do not like a curtain. And so, slowly, over the last decades, we found ways to peer through the veil. Because although the dust of our galaxy blocks ordinary visible light, it is nearly transparent to other kinds of light, to infrared light, the long warm waves just beyond red, which slip through the dust almost unhindered, and to X-rays, and to radio waves, which pass through the veil as though it were not there. And so astronomers built telescopes that could see in these other kinds of light, and turned them toward the zone of avoidance, and began, very gradually, to lift the curtain, to see, for the first time, what lay hidden behind the dust of our own galaxy, in the direction of the pull. And what they found, glowing faintly through the veil, was galaxies. Crowds of them. Whole clusters of galaxies that no one had ever seen, hidden all this time behind the Milky Way's dusty band. And right in the heart of the Great Attractor's direction, they found a great rich cluster, a heavy, crowded knot of hundreds of galaxies, blazing in X-rays from the hot gas between them, sitting some 200 million light-years away, buried behind the densest part of the veil. They named it the Norma Cluster, and it appears to sit very near the center of the Great Attractor, near the very bottom of the great gravitational valley we are all rolling toward. A vast cluster of galaxies, hidden in plain sight, right behind the band of our own Milky Way, that no one had ever seen until we learned to look in light beyond our eyes. Drift toward it now, gently, down through the veil, through the dust and the crowded near stars, and out the other side, into the hidden country beyond, where the great clusters glow that we could not see for so long. It is a strange and lovely thing, to travel to a place that was invisible for the whole of human history until almost yesterday. A whole region of the universe, enormous and heavy and crowded with galaxies, that pulled on us for billions of years while remaining entirely unseen. And now, faintly, through the veil, we can begin to make it out, the source of the great pull, the bottom of the valley, glowing softly in the kinds of light our eyes were never built to see. Let us drift down into that hidden cluster now, gently, and see what a great gathering of galaxies is truly like, for a rich cluster is one of the grandest places in all the universe. Imagine hundreds of galaxies, gathered together in a single region of space, each one a Milky Way or greater, each one hundreds of billions of stars, all bound together by their mutual gravity, all drifting slowly around one another through the ages. At the crowded heart of such a cluster, the galaxies grow old and calm. The great spirals have long since merged into vast, smooth, golden ellipticals, giant featureless clouds of ancient stars, some of them holding trillions of suns, sitting like great quiet elders at the center of the crowd. And between the galaxies, filling the whole enormous space, there drifts an invisible sea, a thin gas, so hot that it glows not in ordinary light but in X-rays, heated to millions of degrees by the sheer scale of the cluster's gravity. There is more matter in that hot invisible gas, all told, than in all the stars of all the galaxies of the cluster combined. And wrapped around and through it all, unseen, is the dark matter, far more massive than the gas and the galaxies together, the great invisible foundation that holds the whole cluster in its grip. And drift among those great old elliptical galaxies at the cluster's heart for a moment, for they are among the most serene objects in all the universe. They are the elders, galaxies that long ago finished making new stars, their gas all spent in the fierce bright youth of the cluster, so that now they only glow, softly and steadily, with the warm gold light of their ancient suns. There are no blue young stars in them, no glowing nurseries, no bright spiral arms, only a smooth, even, golden radiance, the light of hundreds of billions of old stars all shining quietly together, a great soft ball of ancient light drifting in the dark. Some of them are the largest galaxies in all the universe, grown vast over billions of years by slowly swallowing their smaller neighbors, until they sit at the cluster's center like great quiet kings, holding 100 times the stars of our own Milky Way. They have seen everything, these old galaxies. They formed near the beginning, they have watched the cluster gather around them for billions of years, they will go on shining, softly, long after our own sun has died. And they are calm, utterly, deeply calm, their fierce youth long behind them, settled now into a long golden old age of quiet shining. Drift among them, in the warm invisible sea, and let their ancient calm settle into you. There is nothing hurried here, nothing young or restless. Only old gold light, and warm still gas, and the deep patience of a place that has been gently gathering itself for the whole age of the universe. This is the Norma cluster, sitting near the heart of the Great Attractor, 200 million light-years away, hidden behind the band of our own Milky Way. Hundreds of galaxies, a sea of million-degree gas, a vast weight of dark matter, a great gathering place at the bottom of the cosmic valley, drawing everything slowly toward it. And it was invisible to us for the whole of human history, until we learned, just recently, to look in the light beyond our sight. Drift here a while, among its old golden galaxies, in its warm invisible sea, and feel the deep and ancient calm of a place where the galaxies have been gathering, patiently, for billions of years. And think of how much may still be hidden there, behind the veil, waiting. Even now, with all our clever new eyes, our infrared telescopes, our X-ray telescopes, our great radio dishes mapping the hidden sky, the zone of avoidance is not yet fully lifted. There are almost certainly galaxies back there, and perhaps whole clusters, that we have still never seen, buried too deep behind the densest dust of our own galaxy for even our cleverest instruments to make out clearly. There have been surprises already, great galaxies found hiding just behind the band of the Milky Way, close by as these things go, that no one had ever glimpsed until recently, simply because they lay behind the curtain. And there may be more. There may be a great deal more. Imagine that in this age of telescopes that can see almost to the edge of the universe, to galaxies whose light set out when the cosmos was young, there is still a band across our own sky, close to home, that we cannot fully see through. That some of the nearest large structures to us, the very things pulling hardest on our galaxy, remain partly hidden, partly unknown, behind the dust of our own home. It is a humbling and a wonderful thought, that the universe still holds secrets close at hand, not only in its farthest depths but right here, in our own backyard, veiled by the very galaxy we live in. We have mapped the distant cosmos more thoroughly, in some ways, than the near sky directly behind our own galactic center. Let that be a soft and pleasant mystery to drift upon, rather than a frustration. There are still things hidden, still things to find, still a curtain not quite fully drawn back. And there is no urgency in it. The hidden galaxies have been there for billions of years, and they will be there still when we finally see them clearly, whether that is next year or next century. The universe is patient with its secrets, and there is no need for us to be otherwise. You can rest, tonight, in a cosmos that is still partly veiled, still partly unknown, and let the not yet seen be simply one more gentle wonder to carry down into sleep. And yet, and here the mystery turns again, and grows grander still, even the Norma cluster, even all the hidden galaxies behind the veil, do not seem to be quite heavy enough. When astronomers added up all the mass they could find in the direction of the Great Attractor, all the galaxies, all the hot gas, all the clusters hidden behind the dust, it came up short. It was enormous, yes, it was pulling us, yes, but it did not seem massive enough, on its own, to fully explain the great flow of galaxies streaming toward it. Something more was going on. Something even larger lay beyond. And when they looked further out, in the same direction, twice as far away and more, they found it. Far beyond the Great Attractor, some 600 million light-years from us, in that very same direction, lies the largest concentration of galaxies in all the nearby universe, an immense supercluster, a colossal crowd of tens of thousands of galaxies, gathered into one titanic structure. It is called the Shapley Supercluster. And it, too, is pulling. It, too, is drawing galaxies toward it. And it may be that much of the great flow we feel, much of the current carrying our galaxy through space, is not only the Great Attractor pulling from 150 million light-years away, but the far vaster Shapley Supercluster, pulling from beyond it, in the very same direction, its enormous distant gravity reaching across all that space to draw us on. Let the scale of the Shapley Supercluster settle over you for a moment, because it is hard to hold and worth the holding. It is the largest concentration of galaxies in all the nearby universe, tens of thousands of galaxies, gathered into more than 20 great clusters, all bound together across a region hundreds of millions of light-years wide. If the Great Attractor is a great valley, Shapley is a whole mountain range of galaxies, heaped up in the same direction, far beyond. Its gravity is so immense that it reaches across all the space between us, 600 million light-years and more, to tug, faintly but surely, on our own galaxy, adding its distant pull to the current that carries us. And here is a thought to drift on: everything we have spoken of tonight, our galaxy, the local group, the Virgo cluster, the Great Attractor, the whole basin of Laniakea, and Shapley beyond it, all of it lies within a region that is still only a small corner of the whole observable universe. These are the great structures of our own neighborhood, the hills and valleys of the ground nearest home. Beyond them, the cosmic web stretches on, filament after filament, supercluster after supercluster, for billions of light-years in every direction, holding 2 trillion galaxies in its vast and delicate lattice. We are following just one current, in one basin, in one small province of a cosmos too large to hold in the mind. And that is a fine thing to drift toward sleep upon, not a smallness that troubles, but a vastness that soothes, a sense of being one gently drifting droplet in an ocean so immense that there is room in it for everything, forever, with no crowding and no hurry at all. So the picture became layered, like a great landscape of hills and valleys stretching away into the distance. Our galaxy rolling down the near slope toward the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor itself, a great valley, but a valley on the flank of a still greater mountain. And beyond it, the Shapley Supercluster, the great far peak, the largest heap of galaxies for 1 billion light-years in any direction, its gravity drawing everything in this whole vast region gently toward it. We are not falling toward one single thing. We are falling across a whole rolling landscape of gravity, down slopes within slopes, toward valleys beyond valleys, drawn by the combined pull of everything heavy that lies ahead. Let that vastness wash over you softly, without any need to hold it. You do not have to keep the map in your mind. Simply feel the shape of it, that you are on a gentle, endless slope, being drawn, along with everything around you, toward the great heavy places in the distance, the near valley, the far mountain, all of it pulling, all of it silent, all of it slow beyond imagining. And you are rolling down that landscape at 2 million kilometers an hour, and it feels exactly like lying still, warm and safe, in a quiet dark room, drifting toward sleep. Now let me show you the most beautiful idea to come out of all this, the idea that gave our whole home in the universe its true shape, and its name. For a long time, astronomers had struggled to say where one supercluster ended and another began. The galaxies are scattered so widely, in such tangled webs and threads, that the old boundaries were vague and arbitrary. But then someone had a lovely thought. Instead of trying to draw lines around crowds of galaxies, why not map the flows? Why not measure, for every galaxy in a great region of space, which way it is drifting, which way it is being pulled, and let the currents themselves define the landscape? Just as a river valley on Earth can be defined by all the streams that flow down into it, a great cosmic structure could be defined by all the galaxies that flow down into its heart. And so they did. They mapped the peculiar motions of thousands upon thousands of galaxies across a vast region of space, and drew the flow lines, the paths along which the galaxies are drifting, like iron filings tracing the lines of a magnet, like streams tracing the shape of a watershed. And when they had drawn them all, a great structure emerged from the currents, clear and whole for the first time, an enormous basin of galaxies, 100,000 of them, all flowing together, all drifting down toward a single great gravitational valley at its heart. All of them, our Milky Way among them, pouring slowly down toward one point. And that point, the great valley at the bottom of all the flows, the place toward which our entire supercluster is draining, is the Great Attractor. They named the whole structure Laniakea. It is a word from the language of the old navigators of Hawaii, the people who crossed the greatest ocean on Earth by the stars, and it means the immeasurable heaven, the vast, open, immense sky. And there is something perfect in that name, and in where it comes from. For the people who gave us that word were among the greatest travelers who ever lived, voyagers who set out across the widest ocean on the planet in open canoes, with no instruments, no maps, nothing but the stars overhead, the swell of the sea, the flight of birds, and a memory of the sky passed down through generations. They read the heavens the way you might read a familiar road, and by the stars alone they found their way across thousands of miles of open water to tiny islands lost in all that blue. They knew the immeasurable heaven not as an abstraction but as a companion, a guide, the thing that carried them safely home across the trackless dark. And so it is a fitting name for our supercluster, this vast structure that we, too, have charted by the stars, by the patient reading of the light of distant galaxies, and found ourselves to be voyagers within it, carried across an immeasurable sea toward a shore we cannot see. We are navigators too, in our way, reading the great flows the way those old sailors read the swell, finding our place in the immeasurable heaven by the faint light of things unimaginably far. And like them, we are being carried home across the dark, not by our own effort, but by the great current beneath us, the way their canoes were carried by the sea. Let that be a gentle thought to drift upon, that you are a voyager on the immeasurable heaven tonight, carried safely across the vast dark by a current as old and as sure as the sea, toward the quiet, toward rest. Laniakea. Our supercluster. Our true home, at the largest scale that home can mean. 100,000 galaxies, 500 million light-years across, all bound together not by a fixed edge but by a shared falling, all of them, including us, drifting slowly down toward the Great Attractor at the heart of the basin, like 100,000 leaves all drifting down the same enormous, gentle, invisible valley. So now you know your true address. You are on the Earth, which circles the Sun, which drifts in the Orion arm of the Milky Way, which belongs to the local group, which lies in the outskirts of the Virgo cluster, which is one small part of the great basin of Laniakea, and all of it, every last piece, is flowing, slowly and silently, down toward the Great Attractor, the deep point at the bottom of the immeasurable heaven. That is where you live. That is the shape of the currents that carry you. And you are drifting down them, right now, this very moment, in your warm bed, in the dark, being carried gently toward the heart of it all as you fall asleep. Let us drift, slowly, along one of the great flow lines now, and simply follow it, and rest. It runs ahead of us through the dark, threading between the galaxies, curving gently down toward the distant heart of Laniakea, a current you cannot see, marked only by the galaxies drifting along it, all leaning the same way, all sliding softly down the same invisible slope. On either side, other flow lines run parallel, other galaxies drifting down other threads, all of them converging, far ahead, on the same great valley. It is like watching 1,000 slow rivers, spread across a continent, all winding gently toward the same distant sea, except that here the rivers are made of galaxies, and the continent is 500 million light-years wide, and the sea is the hidden heart of the immeasurable heaven. There is no sound to any of it. No rushing, no roaring, no wind. Just the silent, patient sliding of 100,000 galaxies down their gentle threads, over billions of years, toward the quiet center. And we slide with them, in no hurry at all, one small mote among the multitude, carried softly along the current, drifting deeper and deeper toward the heart, and toward sleep. Let the silence of it hold you. Let the slowness of it slow you. There is no way you must be, and no time you must arrive, and all the ages of the universe in which to drift gently down. Say it over softly to yourself, as a kind of lullaby of belonging, and let each step outward carry you a little deeper toward sleep. You are in a warm bed, in a quiet room, in a house, on a street, in a town, on a continent, on the Earth. And the Earth circles the Sun. And the Sun drifts in a quiet spur of the Orion arm, 2/3 of the way out toward the rim of the Milky Way. And the Milky Way is one of a small family, the local group, drifting with Andromeda through the dark. And the local group lies at the edge of the Great Virgo cluster. And Virgo, and all its galaxies, are one part of the vast basin of Laniakea, the immeasurable heaven, 100,000 galaxies flowing together. And all of Laniakea is draining, slowly and silently, toward the Great Attractor at its heart. And beyond even that, Shapley pulls, and the cosmic web stretches on, filament after filament, to the very edge of the seeable. That is your address. That is where you are, tonight, exactly. Not lost, not adrift, not nowhere, but held in a vast and beautiful structure, a nested set of homes within homes within homes, each one cradled inside the next, all the way out to the edge of everything. You have a place. You belong to the great flowing whole. And every layer of that home, from the warm bed to the immeasurable heaven, is carrying you gently in the same direction, toward the same quiet center, as you fall asleep. And here is the tender thing about Laniakea, the thing that makes it a good thought to hold as you drift. It is defined not by walls, but by belonging, by which way things flow. There is no fence around our supercluster, no hard border. There is only the gentle question, when everything lets go and drifts, which way does it fall? And everything here, all 100,000 galaxies, falls the same way, toward the same deep quiet center. We belong together not because something holds us in, but because we are all being drawn, gently, toward the same place. Let yourself be one of those drifting galaxies now. Let go of holding still. Feel which way you fall, down, and in, and toward the quiet center, and let yourself drift there, with everything else, in no hurry at all. And let the sheer size of Laniakea settle over you softly, not as a weight but as a vastness to rest in. It is some 500 million light-years across. Light itself, the swiftest thing there is, that could circle the whole Earth 7 times in a single second, would need 500 million years to cross from one side of our supercluster to the other. It holds 100,000 galaxies, and each of those galaxies holds, on average, 100 billion stars, and a great many of those stars hold worlds. If you tried to count the stars in Laniakea, one every second, without ever stopping, you would not finish in the whole age of the universe, you would not finish in 1,000 ages of the universe. The numbers pass so far beyond us that they stop being numbers and become something more like the sea, not a quantity to grasp, but a vastness to float in. And all of it, every star, every world, every one of those 100,000 galaxies, is flowing, gently, the same way we are, down toward the same hidden heart. 100,000 galaxies, all drifting together, a great silent migration across 500 million light-years, so slow that it looks like stillness, so vast that the mind lets go of it and simply rests. You are one small warm mote within that great migration, drifting with all the rest, carried by the same current, going the same quiet way. You are not watching it from outside. You are in it. You are part of the great flow, one of its countless drifting pieces, on your way, with everything else, toward the quiet center of the immeasurable heaven. There is something so restful in that image of the watershed, the river valley, that it is worth lingering on. Think of rain falling across a great range of hills. Every drop that lands finds its way downward, never uphill, never sideways for long, always down, following the gentle slope, gathering into rivulets, and the rivulets into streams, and the streams into rivers, all of them flowing down, together, toward the same low valley, the same distant sea. No drop is told where to go. No drop decides. Each one simply follows the slope beneath it, and by following the slope, joins all the others, and together they carve the valley and fill the river and reach the sea. That is exactly what the galaxies do, on a scale beyond all imagining, each one simply following the slope of gravity beneath it, and by following it, joining the great flow, and drifting down together toward the low quiet place at the heart of the basin. And you are a drop of that rain tonight. You do not have to find your way. You do not have to know the map, or choose the path, or decide anything at all. There is a slope beneath you, the great gentle slope of everything, the pull of all the mass ahead, and you have only to stop holding yourself in place, and let go, and follow it down. The slope knows the way to the valley. The valley knows the way to the sea. And sleep knows the way to take you, if you will only let go, and follow the gentle downward pull, and flow, with everything else, toward the quiet. But the story is not finished. There is one more twist, discovered only recently, and it is perhaps the most surprising of all, because it turns out that we are not only being pulled. We are also being pushed. For a long time, everyone assumed the Great Flow was all a matter of pulling, that our galaxy streamed toward the Great Attractor and Shapley because their gravity drew us in. And that is half the truth. But when astronomers mapped the flows even more carefully, and looked in the opposite direction, behind us, away from the Great Attractor, they found something they did not expect. They found emptiness. A great, vast, unusually empty region of space, almost devoid of galaxies, a supervoid, an enormous bubble of near-nothing, stretching for hundreds of millions of light-years on the far side of us from the Great Attractor. And an empty region, it turns out, pushes. Not with any force of its own, emptiness has no force, but by its absence. Everywhere else around us, the gravity of galaxies pulls, but in the direction of the great void, there is very little to pull, and so we feel less pull from that side. And when you are pulled hard from one direction and only weakly from the opposite direction, the net effect is exactly as if you were being pushed away from the empty side. The void does not truly push, it simply fails to pull, and its failure to pull, set against the pull of everything else, drives us away from it, on toward the Great Attractor. Let us drift, for a moment, toward that great emptiness, and feel what it is like, for the cosmic voids are among the most extraordinary places in all the universe, and among the most peaceful. Imagine a region of space hundreds of millions of light-years across, in which there is almost nothing at all. Where the great filaments of the cosmic web are strung with thousands of galaxies, here the web thins away to almost nothing, a vast, rounded hollow in the lattice of everything, a bubble of near-perfect emptiness, with only a scattered handful of lonely galaxies drifting through all that enormous dark. If you stood on a world within the deepest part of a great void, your night sky would be strange beyond description. Not the crowded, glittering sky of a cluster, ablaze with nearby galaxies, but an almost empty sky, with only your own stars, and beyond them, a vast and gentle darkness, stretching on, with barely another galaxy near enough to see. It would be the loneliest view in the universe, and also, perhaps, the most serene, a great, deep, uninterrupted quiet, a stillness so complete that it has lasted, unchanged, since the beginning of time. And these voids are not small, forgotten corners. They are among the largest single structures in all the cosmos, vast dark cathedrals of empty space, greater than any galaxy, greater than any cluster, hollows in the web big enough to hold 1,000 galaxies and holding almost none. Most of the volume of the universe, in truth, is void. The bright filaments and glowing clusters, for all their splendor, are only the thin, luminous borders around great dark bubbles of nothing. The universe is mostly emptiness, mostly deep, quiet, spacious dark, and the galaxies are only the delicate lacework strung around the edges of all that gentle nothing. And it is a void like this, behind us, that helps to drive us on, pushing us, by its very emptiness, away from all that nothing and onward toward the fullness ahead. They call this great empty region the dipole repeller. And so the true picture of our motion, the full answer to the question of what moves us, is a beautiful balance of the two, a great attractor ahead, pulling us on, and a great repeller behind, pushing us away, a valley in front and a hill behind, and our galaxy rolling down the slope between them, drawn forward and driven forward at once, toward the fullness ahead and away from the emptiness behind. We are pushed by nothing and pulled by everything, all at the same time, and the two together carry us on through the dark. There is something quietly profound in that, if you care to hold it as you drift. That we are moved as much by the emptiness behind us as by the fullness ahead. That the great void, the place where almost nothing is, shapes our path just as surely as the great crowds of galaxies. In the cosmos, even nothing has an influence. Even emptiness leaves its mark on the flow. And we ride the balance of them, the pull of everything, the push of nothing, carried gently along the seam between the full and the empty, toward the deep bright valley at the heart of it all. Let that balance hold you now. You do not have to move toward anything, or away from anything. The pulling and the pushing are already done, already balanced, already carrying you exactly where the great currents flow. You have only to rest in the middle of it, poised between the fullness and the emptiness, and let yourself be carried, gently, silently, at 2 million kilometers an hour, down toward the quiet center, and down toward sleep. And is it not a beautiful balance to rest within, held between the pull of everything ahead and the push of nothing behind, poised on the gentle seam between the full and the empty, and carried softly along it? You are not being torn between two forces. You are being cradled by them, the two of them together shaping your path as gently as two hands cupping water, guiding you along the one smooth current that runs between them. Everything that is ahead of you draws you kindly on, everything that is not behind you urges you kindly forward, and you drift in the balance of them, along the seam, toward the quiet, needing to do nothing at all. So much of life feels like being pulled in different directions, torn, stretched, caught between things. But out here, at the scale of the immeasurable heaven, the pulling and the pushing do not tear us apart, they carry us together, all in the same direction, along the one gentle path. The full and the empty are not at war. They are partners in the great slow flow, working together to carry everything home. And you rest in the middle of them tonight, carried by both, torn by neither, drifting softly down the one clear current toward sleep. Let us drift a while now, gently, down the great current, and think about what is really doing all this pulling, because the galaxies we can see are only part of the answer, and the deeper truth is stranger and quieter still. When astronomers weigh the Great Attractor, when they add up the pull it exerts and work out how much mass it must contain, the number is staggering, something like the mass of tens of thousands of galaxies gathered into one great region. But when they count the galaxies they can actually see there, even peering through the veil, they cannot find nearly enough. The visible galaxies, all their stars and gas together, make up only a small fraction of the mass that must be present. The rest, most of it, the great majority, is invisible. It is dark matter. You have met it before, perhaps, on other nights. It is the unseen stuff that makes up most of the matter in the universe, 5 times more of it than all the ordinary matter, all the stars and worlds and gas and dust combined. It gives off no light. It does not shine, or block light, or touch anything you could feel. It does only one thing: it has weight, and it pulls. And it is everywhere, wrapped around every galaxy in a vast invisible halo, pulled in the great clusters, strung through all of space in a hidden web. And it is dark matter, far more than the visible galaxies, that gives the Great Attractor its enormous pull. When we roll down the great slope toward it, most of what we are falling toward is something no one has ever seen. Sit with that strangeness gently, for it is one of the deepest facts about the universe, and one of the most humbling. Everything you have ever seen, every star, every world, every galaxy, every atom of your own body, all the ordinary matter in all of creation, is only a small fraction of what is really out there. For every gram of ordinary, shining, touchable matter, there are about 5 grams of dark matter, invisible, silent, passing through everything, felt only by its weight. The universe we can see is a thin bright froth floating on a vast dark ocean. The galaxies, the stars, the light, all of it is only the glittering surface, and beneath it lies an unseen sea, 5 times as deep, that we have never touched and do not understand. And this unseen sea is what truly shapes everything. It was the dark matter that first gathered, in the young universe, into great invisible clumps, and it was into those clumps that the ordinary matter fell, and there that the first galaxies lit. It is the dark matter that holds every galaxy together as it spins, and pulls in every cluster, and draws out the great filament of the cosmic web. The visible galaxies are only bright markers, showing us where the invisible mass has gathered, like frost tracing the shape of a cold window, like foam tracing the shape of a wave. When we follow the great flow toward the Great Attractor, we are really following the dark matter, drawn toward the deepest pools of the unseen sea. Nobody knows what it is. We have searched for it for decades, deep underground, in great sensitive machines, in the sky, and it has not shown itself. It is simply there, everywhere, enormous and silent, doing its patient work in the dark. And there is a strange comfort in that, as you lie here, that most of the universe is a gentle, invisible presence we cannot see and do not understand, holding everything together, drawing everything softly along, asking nothing, harming nothing, felt only as the quiet pull that carries the galaxies home. It is all around you now, this unseen sea, passing through you without a whisper, holding the whole great structure in its gentle grip. You are floating in it. You always have been. Let it hold you. And the shape it makes, the shape of all that matter, dark and visible together, across the largest scales, is the most beautiful structure in all the cosmos. For the matter of the universe is not spread evenly. It is drawn out, over billions of years, into a vast and delicate lattice, great glowing filaments and threads of galaxies, strung across the dark, meeting at bright dense knots where the clusters gather, and between them, the great empty voids. They call it the cosmic web. And it looks, from far enough away, uncannily like something living, like the branching threads of a great root system, or the neurons of an immense sleeping brain, spun across the whole of space. And the great flows we have been following tonight, the streaming of the galaxies, the current that carries us toward the Great Attractor, these are simply the galaxies sliding slowly along the threads of that web, draining down the filaments toward the dense bright knots where the matter gathers. We are a single droplet running slowly down one strand of a vast cosmic web, toward one of its great gathering points. The Great Attractor is one of those knots, a place where the web draws thick, where the filaments meet, where the dark matter pools, and where, across billions of years, the galaxies slowly gather. And we are on our way there, sliding down the strand, along with everything else in our great flowing basin. It helps, sometimes, to picture the whole web at once, from far enough away, for it is the largest and most beautiful pattern there is. Imagine pulling back, until whole galaxies shrink to points of light, and whole clusters to bright specks, and the entire structure of the nearby universe spreads out before you like a great luminous cobweb glistening with dew. You would see the bright dense knots where the clusters gather, and the long glowing threads of galaxies running between them, and the vast dark hollows of the voids, and everywhere the delicate filaments weaving it all together into a single connected whole. It looks like something grown, something living, like the branching roots of a great tree, or the fine threads of a fungus spreading through soil, or the neurons of an immense and sleeping mind, spun across the whole of space. And along every thread of that great web, the galaxies are drifting, slowly, toward the knots, draining down the filaments like dew running down the strands of a spider's silk toward the places where the threads cross. That is the great flow, seen whole, not chaos, not scattering, but a vast, slow, orderly draining of galaxies down the threads of the cosmic web, toward the gathering places, according to the pattern laid down at the beginning of time. And we are one drop of that dew, sliding gently down our strand, toward our knot, with all the other drops, in no hurry at all. Let the great pattern hold you as you drift. You are not lost in it, and you are not falling through chaos. You are running gently down a thread of the most beautiful structure in the universe, toward a quiet gathering place, along a path as old as the cosmos and as sure as gravity. The web knows the way. The thread will carry you. You have only to drift down it, softly, toward the quiet, and let it take you home. Let us simply drift now, for a good long while, down one of the great filaments of the web, and let the enormity of it move slowly past, and rest in it. We are sliding, gently, along a glowing thread of galaxies, a strand of the cosmic web, hundreds of millions of light-years long, made of thousands of galaxies strung out along it like beads of dew on a spider's silk. On either side, the strand falls away into the great dark voids, vast bubbles of near emptiness where almost nothing is. Ahead, far ahead, the strand runs down toward a bright dense knot where many filaments meet, a great gathering place, a cluster, a valley in the web where the galaxies pool. And we are drifting down toward it, slowly, along with every galaxy on the strand, all of us flowing the same gentle way. There is no rushing here. The galaxies drift past so slowly that in a whole human lifetime you would see no change at all. Everything moves at the pace of the cosmos, which is to say, at a pace so gentle it looks like perfect stillness. A galaxy sliding down the web at hundreds of kilometers a second still takes hundreds of millions of years to travel any distance worth naming. We are moving, always moving, and it feels like floating in still water, like drifting on a current so smooth and so wide that you cannot feel it move at all. Look at the galaxies as they pass. Each one is an island of hundreds of billions of stars, and around a great many of those stars, worlds, rocky worlds, frozen worlds, worlds with oceans, worlds with skies. Each galaxy is a whole universe of its own to anything that might live within it, and there are thousands of them just along this one strand, and countless strands, and the whole vast web woven through with them, 2 trillion galaxies in all. And every single one is drifting, like us, down its own thread, toward its own gathering place, carried by the same silent gravity, part of the same slow flow. Nothing out here is still. Nothing out here is alone. Everything is drifting, together, along the great pattern, toward the quiet places where the web draws thick. Let yourself be one of them. Let yourself be a single galaxy, drifting down a single strand, in no hurry, with nowhere you must arrive, carried gently by a current you cannot feel, past wonders too vast to count, toward a quiet gathering place in the deep. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to steer. The thread knows the way. The current is patient. And you are simply drifting along it, softly, toward the quiet, growing heavier and stiller with every breath. And feel, as you drift, how small you are, and how this smallness is not a sorrow but a rest. You are one person, on one world, around one star, in one galaxy, on one strand of a web that holds 2 trillion galaxies. If you tried to hold the whole of it in your mind, you could not, and you do not need to. You are a single droplet in an ocean beyond all measure, and the ocean is not cold, and not empty, and not lonely. It is full of light, and full of drifting islands, and woven through with gentle threads that carry everything softly along. There is room in it for everything, forever. There is no crowding, no competition, no hurry. Every galaxy has its own vast quiet space, and its own thread to drift along, and all the time there has ever been. And so do you. Let the smallness be a relief. You do not have to be large. You do not have to hold anything up, or keep anything turning, or understand the whole of it. You are a small warm thing, drifting on a great gentle current, held by forces older and vaster than you can imagine, and asked to do nothing at all but rest, and breathe, and be carried. That is your whole task tonight. That is your only task. Drift, and be carried, and let the great flow take you softly down. There is a deep and restful order in that, beneath all the mystery. For all that the Great Attractor is hidden, for all that most of its mass is unseen, the great pattern is not chaos. It is a web, structured, connected, woven through with threads that guide the galaxies gently along their way. Nothing out here is truly lost or wandering. Everything flows along the strands, drawn slowly toward the gathering places, according to a pattern laid down in the first moments of the universe and unfolding ever since. You are part of that pattern tonight. You are flowing along your appointed thread, drawn gently toward your gathering place, exactly as you should be. There is nothing to decide, and nothing to steer. The web knows the way. Let it carry you down it, softly, toward the quiet, toward sleep. And where did the pattern come from? Why is there a great attractor at all? Why does the mass gather here and not there? The answer reaches all the way back to the very beginning, and it is a gentle one. In the first tiny fraction of a second of the universe, when everything was hot and dense and almost perfectly smooth, there were nonetheless the faintest of ripples in it, regions very slightly denser than their surroundings, by no more than a part in 100,000, the merest whisper of unevenness in the newborn cosmos. And those faint ripples were enough. For wherever there was a little more matter, there was a little more gravity, and so a little more matter was drawn in, and so there was more gravity still, and over billions of years, the slightly denser regions grew denser and denser, gathering matter from all around, while the slightly emptier regions grew emptier and emptier, giving their matter up. The rich grew richer, the empty grew emptier, and out of the faintest whisper of unevenness in the beginning, the whole magnificent structure of the cosmos slowly grew, the filaments, the clusters, the voids, the Great Attractor, all of it. So the Great Attractor is here, pulling us tonight, because 14 billion years ago there was a faint extra whisper of matter in this direction, a ripple in the newborn universe, slightly denser than the rest, and gravity has been patiently gathering matter into it ever since. Every great structure in the cosmos is the grown-up form of one of those first faint ripples, magnified by billions of years of patient gathering. The whole vast architecture of the universe was written, in the faintest of outlines, in its very first instant, and has been slowly developing, like a photograph in a darkroom, ever since. There is a deep and beautiful order in that, to rest upon as you drift. Nothing out here is random. The great pull that carries us was set in motion at the dawn of time, encoded in the first faint ripples of creation, and has been unfolding, gently and inevitably, for the whole age of the universe. You are being carried tonight by a current that began at the beginning of everything, a pull as old as time itself, as patient as gravity, drawing you softly along a path laid down before the first star ever shone. You could not be in safer or older or gentler hands. Let the ancient pattern carry you. It has been carrying everything, faithfully, since the very first moment. It knows exactly what it is doing. Let it draw you down, softly, into sleep. And now let me tell you the gentlest, most bittersweet part of the whole story, the ending that is not quite an ending, and the one that makes all this falling feel, in the end, so peaceful. We are falling toward the Great Attractor. Our whole supercluster is draining toward it. You might imagine, then, that one day, far in the future, we will arrive, that all these galaxies will gather at last at the bottom of the Great Valley, and pile together, and the long fall will be over. But that is not what will happen. Because there is another force at work in the universe, greater than all the attractors and all the superclusters put together, and it is winning. That force is the expansion of space itself. All this while, as we have been falling toward the Great Attractor, the space between us and it has also been quietly stretching, expanding, growing, carrying the galaxies apart even as their gravity draws them together. It is worth pausing on how strange and gentle this expansion is, for it is unlike any motion we know. The galaxies are not flying apart through space, like fragments from an explosion, rushing out into some empty room beyond. It is space itself that is growing, swelling, everywhere, all at once, in every gap between every galaxy, so that the galaxies are carried apart not by moving, but by the quiet stretching of the very distance between them. Imagine a loaf of raisin bread rising slowly in a warm oven. Every raisin drifts away from every other raisin, not because the raisins are moving through the dough, but because the dough between them is swelling. That is what space does. Everywhere, gently, endlessly, the dough of space is rising, and the galaxies are the raisins, drifting apart on the swell. And near home, on the scale of our own bound local group, gravity holds firm against this stretching. The Milky Way and Andromeda will never be pulled apart by it, they are falling together too strongly. But out across the great distances, toward the Great Attractor and beyond, the stretching wins. There is simply too much space between us and it, and more of it is being made every moment, faster than our slow falling can cross it. And so the gap holds, and even grows, and the Great Attractor pulls us forever without ever drawing us in, the pull and the stretching held in a slow eternal balance, and we suspended gently between them, leaning toward a home we will never reach, and at perfect peace in the leaning. For most of the universe's history, on scales like these, gravity was strong enough to win, and the galaxies drew closer. But billions of years ago, the expansion began to speed up. A mysterious something, we call it dark energy, which is again just a name for a thing we do not understand, began to push space apart faster and faster, everywhere, all at once. And now, on the largest scales, the expansion is winning. And so, in truth, we will never reach the Great Attractor. We are falling toward it, and we will keep falling toward it for a long time yet, but the expansion of space is carrying it away from us faster than our falling can close the gap. Like someone walking toward a door on a floor that is stretching beneath their feet, we draw a little nearer, but the distance grows faster than we can cross it. The Great Attractor will pull us, and we will lean toward it forever, and we will never, ever arrive. In the far future, the expansion will carry it beyond our reach entirely, until it, and Shapley, and all the distant galaxies, drift away over the horizon of the visible and are gone, and our own bound local group is left alone in the dark. Let us drift, gently, into that far future for a moment, because it is quieter and kinder than it sounds. Billions upon billions of years from now, long after our sun has died and been reborn as light in other stars, the accelerating expansion will have carried every galaxy beyond our own little bound family away over the edge of the visible. The Great Attractor, gone. Shapley, gone. The whole of Laniakea, all its 100,000 galaxies, drifted away into the growing dark, their light stretched and dimmed until it can no longer reach us at all. And our own local group, the Milky Way, and Andromeda, and their small companions, by then all merged into a single great galaxy, will be left alone in an ocean of empty black, with nothing else visible anywhere, in any direction. And anyone living then, looking out, would see only their own stars, and beyond them, nothing. They would have no way of knowing that the universe was ever full, that it once brimmed with 2 trillion galaxies, that great currents once carried whole superclusters toward hidden hearts, that there was ever such a thing as a Great Attractor. All of it will have slipped beyond the horizon. Their universe will seem to be one lonely island of stars in an endless void. We are living, then, in a rare and precious moment, a bright window, early in the life of the cosmos, when the galaxies are still close enough to see, when the great currents can still be traced, when the whole magnificent structure is still visible to anyone patient enough to look. We happen to be here for the part where you can still see out, still feel the pull, still map the flows, still know that we belong to something vast and flowing and full. That is a gift. and there is no sadness in the long quiet future, only a great slow settling, the galaxies drifting apart, the currents fading, everything growing gently more spacious and more still, over spans of time so vast they are almost a kind of peace. The universe, too, is being tucked in for a very long night. And tonight, in the bright young morning of it all, you get to rest, and drift, and belong to the great flowing whole, while the lights are all still on. And here is the strange piece of it. The falling was never really about arriving. We have been drifting toward the Great Attractor for the entire age of the universe, and we will drift toward it for ages more, and we will never get there, and that is all right. The journey is not a failure for having no destination. It is simply a drifting, a leaning, a being drawn, that goes on, gently, forever, without ever needing to end. There is no crash at the bottom of the valley. There is no pile-up, no arrival, no conclusion. There is only the endless, gentle falling, the eternal soft current, carrying everything slowly along, toward a place it will never quite reach, and does not need to. Is that not exactly like sleep? You do not fall asleep by arriving somewhere. You fall asleep by drifting, by leaning gently toward it, by being drawn softly down, without effort, without destination, until at some moment you cannot name, you are simply there. You are drifting toward sleep the way our galaxy drifts toward the Great Attractor, pulled gently, endlessly, by something quiet and vast, carried along without any effort of your own, in no hurry to arrive. So do not try to arrive. Do not reach for sleep, or chase it, or wait to get there. Just lean into the current. Just let yourself be drawn. Just fall, gently, forever, toward the quiet, and let the falling itself be the rest. Let us begin, gently, to drift back, not because the journey is over, for it never truly ends, but because it is time now to come home, and to sleep. Let us turn, softly, and let the great flow carry us the other way, back up the long invisible slope, back toward the small warm world where your body lies resting. And as we drift home, carry this one thought with you, the deepest and quietest of the whole night. Everything is moving. Nothing in all the universe is truly still. The Earth spins, the moon circles, the sun sweeps around the galaxy falls toward the Great Attractor, the whole of Laniakea drains toward its hidden heart, and the space between all of it stretches and grows, carrying everything apart even as gravity draws it together. From the smallest world to the largest supercluster, everything is in motion, always, endlessly, at speeds beyond all imagining. There is not one truly motionless thing anywhere in all of creation. And there never has been. There is no fixed point in the universe, no still center, no place that stands unmoving while everything else turns around it. Every star is drifting, every galaxy is falling, every supercluster is flowing, and even the space between them all is stretching and growing. If you search the whole of the cosmos for one truly motionless thing to stand upon, you would never find it. Everything is adrift. Everything is being carried. Everything, everywhere, is flowing gently along, and always has been, since the first moment of time. And yet, this is the wonder, because everything moves together, because there is no fixed point to measure against, the motion becomes, everywhere, a kind of stillness. On a galaxy drifting down the current, everything drifts together, and so aboard it all is calm. In a solar system sweeping around the galaxy, everything sweeps together, and so within it all is peaceful. In a bed on a spinning, orbiting, falling world, everything moves together, and so you feel perfectly, completely still. Motion and stillness turn out to be the same thing, seen from inside. The whole universe is in ceaseless motion, and the whole universe, from within, is at rest. So you need not choose. You need not hold still against the current, nor strive to move along it. You are already doing both, perfectly, effortlessly, as everything does. You are moving with everything, and so you are at rest within everything. Let that paradox cradle you tonight, that you can be swept along at 2 million kilometers an hour and lie in perfect peace. That motion itself, when everything shares it, becomes the deepest stillness there is. You are moving. You are still. You are carried. You are at rest. All of it, at once, always. Let it hold you, and let go. And yet, feel your body now. Feel how perfectly, completely still it is. Feel the bed beneath you, unmoving. Feel the quiet of the room, the stillness of the air, the deep settled calm of a body at rest. You are moving at 2 million kilometers an hour, in half a dozen directions at once, carried on currents that span 500 million light years, and you feel nothing but stillness. Nothing but peace. Nothing but the soft weight of a resting body in a quiet dark room. Think, for a moment, of all the motions you are riding at once, nested one inside the other, like wheels within wheels within wheels. You are lying still on the surface of the earth, but the earth is spinning, carrying you eastward at hundreds of meters every second, so that the whole landscape sweeps you around once each day. And that spinning earth is racing around the sun, 30 kilometers every second, a great year-long circle through space. And the sun, with the earth spiraling around it, is sweeping around the center of the galaxy at 200 kilometers a second, on an orbit so vast it takes 200 million years to complete, so that the last time the sun was where it is now, there were dinosaurs on the earth. And the whole galaxy is falling toward Andromeda, and drifting within the local group, and the local group is streaming toward the Virgo cluster, and all of it together, the whole basin of Laniakea, is pouring down toward the Great Attractor at 600 kilometers a second. And even the space between everything is stretching, carrying the distant galaxies ever further apart. Wheels within wheels within wheels. Spinning, and orbiting, and falling, and streaming, and expanding, a half-dozen great motions, layered one upon another, each one carrying you along at a speed that would take your breath away if you could feel it. And you feel none of it. You feel only the soft bed beneath you and the slow rise and fall of your own breathing. All that colossal, nested, ceaseless motion, and at the center of it, in the middle of all those turning wheels, one small warm body, perfectly at rest. That is the great gift the Great Attractor gives us tonight, the lesson hidden in all that hidden mass. That motion and stillness are not opposites. That you can be carried at unimaginable speed and be perfectly at rest, both at once, always. That you do not have to hold yourself still, or steer, or strive, or arrive. The great currents are carrying you, and have been carrying you every moment of your life, and will carry you all through this night, whether you are awake or asleep. You have only ever had to do one thing: let go, and be carried. And that is the easiest thing in the world. That is what sleep is. And there is a kindness in belonging to the flow, beyond even the rest of it. Because you are not being carried alone. Everything you have ever known is being carried with you, all in the same direction, all at the same gentle pace. The earth, and everyone on it, every person you have ever loved, every place you have ever been, all of it is here, in the same small basin, drifting the same way down the same great current. The sun that warms you, the moon that lifts the tides, the very stars you see on a clear night, all of them are your fellow travelers, all falling with you toward the same hidden heart, all part of the same great migration through the dark. You are not a lone speck adrift in an indifferent void. You are one member of a vast and gentle company, 100,000 galaxies strong, all moving together, all going the same quiet way. There is deep comfort in that companionship, though we never feel it. We drift through our lives imagining ourselves still, and separate, and alone, and all the while we are part of an enormous, silent, unanimous flow, every galaxy leaning the same way, every star drifting the same current, the whole immeasurable heaven moving as one toward the quiet. You belong to that. You are part of that. And tonight, as you let go and are carried down toward sleep, you are simply doing, in your own small warm way, what every galaxy in Laniakea is doing at this very moment, drifting, together, gently, toward the deep and quiet center of things. And notice, as we turn for home, that coming home is not a struggle against the current, not a swimming upstream. It is only another kind of drifting. The great flow carries us wherever we need to go tonight, and home is simply the warm small center of our own little basin, the place we started from, waiting for us exactly where we left it. We do not have to fight our way back. We have only to let the drifting turn gently homeward, and be carried the rest of the way, as softly as we came. Let the return be slow, and dreamlike, and unhurried. Let the great clusters drift away behind us, the Norma cluster fading back behind its veil, the long bright sheets of galaxies growing small and dim. Let the hidden heart of Laniakea recede, still pulling, still drawing everything toward it, but further now, softer now, as we drift the other way, back up the long gentle slope toward home. There is no hurry. There is all the time there has ever been. And with every galaxy width of distance we drift back toward home, let yourself sink a little deeper toward sleep, so that the journey home and the journey down into rest become the same single gentle motion, carrying you softly along. So let us come the rest of the way home. Down the great flow, back toward our own small basin, our own local group, our own quiet corner of Laniakea. Back toward the great turning wheel of the Milky Way, glowing softly in the dark. Down into its spiral arms, past the near and gentle stars, toward one small, ordinary, faithful yellow star in a quiet outer arm. Our sun. And around it, a small blue world, turning slowly, exactly where we left it, being carried, like everything else, down the great current toward the Great Attractor, and feeling, like everything else, perfectly still. Let the descent through the galaxy be slow and soft, a long gentle homecoming. Past the great glowing clouds where new stars are born, their soft light washing over us as we drift by. Past the old red giants burning low and patient in the dark. Past the little faithful stars, the quiet neighbors, the near and familiar lights of home. Down through the thinning outer reaches of the arm, toward the quiet suburb where our sun keeps its slow 200 million year circle around the galactic heart. Everything here is calm, and familiar, and safe, the known stars, the home arm, the gentle outer reaches of our own galaxy, all of it drifting with us down the great current, all of it carrying us softly home. And there it is, growing out of the dark ahead, our sun, small and yellow and warm, the most ordinary of stars and the most precious, because it is ours, and because around it turns the one small world in all the immeasurable heaven that is home. We drift toward it, and it grows, and it is the most welcome sight in all the cosmos, an ordinary star, in a quiet arm, carrying a small blue world gently down the great flow, carrying you home. Down toward that small blue world now. Down through the thin blue shell of its air. Down through the quiet clouds, through the soft dark of the night side, down toward one sleeping country, one town, one roof, one room. And down, gently, into your own body, lying just where it has lain all along, warm, and heavy, and safe, breathing slowly, held by the soft and faithful earth, and carried, with the earth and the sun and the whole great galaxy, down the endless gentle current toward the quiet heart of everything. You are home. And you are still moving, faster than thought, toward the Great Attractor, and you will be moving all night, and you will feel nothing but the deep soft stillness of sleep. Feel the ordinary miracle of it, of a warm bed, a quiet room, a body that can rest, on a small blue world drifting gently down the great current of everything. After all that vastness, the immeasurable heaven, the hidden clusters, the great flows, the unseen sea, there is something so precious about a small warm room, and a soft pillow, and a body grown heavy and easy at the end of a long day. The whole enormous universe flows on out there, cold and magnificent and endless, and here, at the still warm center of your own small corner of it, you are safe, and held, and free to let go completely. So let go completely. There is nothing left to see tonight, and nothing left to understand, and nowhere left to go. The journey to the Great Attractor is done as it will ever be, for we never truly arrive, and that is the peace of it. Now there is only rest. Now there is only the warm dark, and the slow breath, and the gentle current carrying you down. Let your body sink fully into the bed now, and let the last of the waking day drain softly away, and let yourself be carried, at last, all the way down into sleep. So let your body grow heavy now, from the crown of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, and let the softness spread through you like slow warm water, like a gentle current flowing down through you, carrying every last bit of tension away as it goes. Let it begin at the very top of your head, and flow slowly downward, loosening and softening and warming everything it touches, the way the great flow carries the galaxies gently along, nothing forced, nothing hurried, only a soft downward drifting, part by part, into rest. Let your forehead smooth and soften, every small care of the day melting away from it. Let your eyes rest heavy behind their lids. Let your jaw loosen and your shoulders fall away from your ears, sinking down into the bed. Let the heaviness flow down through your arms, through your elbows, your wrists, your hands, all the way to the very tips of your fingers, until your arms lie heavy and warm and utterly still. Feel your chest rise and fall, softly, all on its own, needing nothing from you. Let each breath be slower than the last. Notice it gently, without changing it, the soft rise as the breath comes in, the long slow fall as it flows out. In, like the gathering of the great current. Out, like the drifting down the slope. In, and out, and down. And with each breath out, let a little more of your weight settle into the bed, as though the bed were slowly, gently taking all of it from you, the weight of your body, the weight of the day, the weight of every thought, until there is nothing left for you to hold up at all, and you are simply floating, held entirely, carried entirely, resting entirely, on the great slow current that bears all things gently toward the quiet. Feel how good it is to be held like this. To have nothing to carry. To be moved without any effort of your own, drawn softly along by something vast and patient and kind, asked to do nothing at all but breathe, and soften, and drift. This is how the galaxies rest, if galaxies could rest, carried, always, without striving, down the great gentle flow. And this is how you may rest tonight. Simply carried. Simply held. Simply drifting, softer and slower and deeper, towards sleep. Let your back settle and spread into the bed. Let your hips grow heavy, and your legs, and your knees, and your calves, and your ankles, and your feet, all the way to the tips of your toes. Your whole body heavy now. Your whole body still. Your whole body held, and carried, and safe. And feel how the warmth spreads through you as you settle, the warmth of the covers, the warmth of your own slow blood moving quietly through you, the warmth of a body that is safe, and tired in the good way, and ready at last for rest. Out there, across the immeasurable heaven, everything is cold, and vast, and drifting through the great dark. But here, in this small warm place, wrapped in blankets, held by gravity, breathing sweet air, you have the one thing all that vastness cannot offer, a warm, soft, quiet place to sleep. The whole enormous universe flows on, cold and magnificent, and you rest at the warm, still center of your own small corner of it, cradled, and carried, and perfectly safe. There is nowhere better to be tonight than exactly here. There is nothing better to do than exactly this. Let the warmth hold you. Let the weight of your body sink fully into the bed. Let every last trace of effort drain away, down through your body, out into the dark, until there is nothing left in you but softness, and warmth, and the slow deep rhythm of your breathing, carrying you gently down. And far above the roof, beyond the thin blue air, the great currents flow on, exactly as they always have. The earth turns, carrying you gently through the night toward the morning. The sun sweeps around the galaxy. The whole Milky Way falls, silently, down the great slope toward the Great Attractor, carrying you with it, at 2 million kilometers an hour, and you feel nothing but the soft warm stillness of your bed. 100,000 galaxies drift down the great basin of Laniakea toward its hidden heart. And all of it is calm. And all of it is silent. And all of it is carrying you, gently, without any effort of your own, exactly where you are meant to go. There is nothing you must do. There is nowhere you must be. The great currents are doing all the moving, as they always have, and they will carry you all night long, whether you wake or sleep. You may set every thought down now, the way you would set down a heavy pack at the end of a long day. Set it down. You will not need it tonight. The universe is carrying you. You have only to rest. And if your mind wants to wander, let it wander. It does not have to stay here with me. Let it drift wherever it likes, off down the great current, out among the quiet galaxies, off into some soft half-dream that has nothing to do with attractors or flows at all. That is not a failure of resting. That is resting. That is exactly what falling asleep is, the mind slipping its moorings and drifting off, a little at a time, carried down its own gentle current, until it is somewhere else entirely and you never noticed the going. So let it drift. Do not follow it, and do not call it back. Just let it be carried, as everything is carried, softly, into the dark. And if a worry from the day should surface, let it too be carried away down the flow. Look at it the way you have looked at the galaxies tonight, from a great and gentle distance, without needing to do anything about it. From out here, from the scale of the immeasurable heaven, nothing that happened today has any size at all. Not because it does not matter, but because you are very tired, and it is night, and it can wait. Everything can wait. That is what the night is for. The whole turning universe agreed on this long ago. For a few hours, the currents carry on without us, and nothing needs solving, and we are allowed, simply, to rest. Breathe in, slowly. And breathe out. And with every breath out, sink a little deeper, a little heavier, a little further down into the warm and quiet dark, like a small stone settling softly toward the floor of a still and peaceful sea, drifting down through the calm water, in no hurry at all, drawn gently downward by a pull as old and as patient as gravity itself, until it comes to rest at last on the soft sand at the bottom, and lies there, easy, and still, and at peace. Let us go through the body once more, slowly, and let each part of you be drawn down into rest, the way the galaxies are drawn down the great current, gently, without effort, without any need to try. Your forehead. Let it be smooth, and wide, and untroubled. Let every small thought loosen its hold and drift away down the flow. Your eyes, resting heavy and quiet behind their lids, still at last after the long day of looking. Let them soften. Let them sink. Your jaw, unclenching, your teeth parting slightly, your tongue soft in your mouth. Let all the holding there melt away. Your throat, your neck, your shoulders, dropping, widening, sinking down into the bed, heavy and warm, drawn gently downward. Your arms, from shoulder to fingertip, filling slowly with a warm, heavy stillness, like something poured. Your elbows heavy. Your wrists heavy. Your hands open and still. Every finger let go. Your chest, rising and falling, softly, all on its own, in no hurry, needing nothing from you. Your belly, soft and warm. Your back, releasing into the bed, one small muscle at a time, spreading, settling, sinking. Your hips, heavy. Your legs, long and loose and warm. Your knees, your calves, your ankles, all letting go. And your feet, all the way to the very tips of your toes, heavy and warm and utterly at rest. Your whole body now, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, heavy and warm and still and carried. Nothing to hold. Nothing to steer. Nowhere to arrive. Only the gentle drawing down, the soft current, the endless quiet falling toward rest. There is nothing left to do now but drift. So let us drift together, one last gentle while, down the great current, letting go a little more with every breath. If a thought should rise, let it drift away down the flow, growing smaller, and dimmer, and quieter, until it disappears over the horizon and is gone. You need not follow it. Let it go, and let yourself be carried softly down. There is nothing you need to hold on to now. Not a single thought, not a single worry, not a single plan. Let them all go, one by one, down the great current, the way the void lets its galaxies drift, the way the dying day lets go of its light, the way you let go of a breath. Each thing you release makes you a little lighter, a little softer, a little more ready to drift down into sleep. So release them all. Open your hands. Let the current take everything you were holding, and carry it gently away into the dark, and leave you empty, and weightless, and free. And in that emptiness, feel how much room there is, how spacious and quiet and calm your mind becomes when it is no longer holding anything at all. It is like the great voids between the filaments, not a cold and lonely emptiness, but a vast and gentle openness, with all the room in the world simply to rest. Let your mind be that open, that quiet, that free. Nothing to hold. Nothing to solve. Nothing to reach for. Only the soft dark, and the slow breath, and the gentle current, carrying you down. Your body knows how to do this. It has done it every night of your life, thousands upon thousands of times, without ever once needing instructions. It knows the way down into sleep the way a river knows the way to the sea, the way a galaxy knows the way down the current, not by thinking, not by trying, but simply by letting go and following the gentle downward pull. You do not have to find the way. You could not lose it if you tried. You have only to stop holding yourself in place, and your body will do the rest, drawing you down into sleep as surely and as softly as gravity draws the galaxies home. So stop holding on. Just a little more. Let go of the last small thread that ties you to the waking day, the last thought, the last plan, the last faint effort to stay awake, and let yourself fall the rest of the way, down the gentle slope, into the deep warm dark. There is nothing to be afraid of in the falling. It is the oldest and safest and most natural motion there is. Everything in the universe is doing it. The galaxies are falling. The stars are falling. The whole immeasurable heaven is falling, softly, toward its quiet center. And you are falling with them, warm and safe in your bed, drawn gently down toward sleep, carried by a pull as old as time. Let the darkness be kind to you. There is nothing in it to fear. All the great pulling and pushing of the cosmos is silent, and gentle, and far away, and none of it can trouble you. It can only carry you, softly, the way it has all your life. There is only the warm bed, and the slow breath, and the deep gentle dark, and sleep, drawing you down toward it as surely and as gently as the Great Attractor draws the galaxies, and asking nothing of you but that you let go, and lean into it, and fall. Let go, now, of the last of the day. Whatever it held, whatever was said, whatever was left undone, whatever waits for you tomorrow. Set it down. It will keep. It will all still be there in the morning, and you will meet it rested, and it will be lighter then. None of it needs you tonight. Not one single piece of it. The night is for setting things down, and you are allowed, now, to set everything down. Feel how light you become when there is nothing left in your hands. Feel how much room there is in you when you are no longer holding anything at all. There is nothing to carry down the current tonight. We travel light. Only the drifting comes with us. Only the quiet. And let the great gentle motion of everything hold you now, the way a slow wide river holds a leaf. You do not swim in such a river. You do not steer. You simply rest on the surface, and turn slowly as you go, and let the current carry you, past the banks, past the bends, on, in no hurry, toward the sea. That is how you are carried tonight, not by your own effort, never by your own effort, but by the great slow current of everything, the same current that carries the galaxies, the same patient pull that has drawn all things gently along since the beginning of time. It is carrying you now. It has always been carrying you. And all you must do is stop holding still, and let it. Breathe in, slowly. And out. And with the breath out, let yourself be carried a little further down. And again. In, and out, and down. Each breath softer than the last. Each one loosening one more thread that tied you to the waking day, until you are drifting free, weightless, held by nothing and carried by everything, sinking gently toward the deep quiet floor of sleep. You are lying in a warm bed, in a quiet room, on a small blue world, in a modest galaxy, in a great flowing basin of 100,000 galaxies, all drifting the same gentle way through the endless dark. And every layer of it is holding you, and carrying you, and asking nothing of you at all. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is missing. Nothing needs fixing tonight. You are exactly where the great currents have carried you, exactly where you belong, doing exactly what everything in the universe is doing, drifting, softly, toward rest. Let your breathing carry you now, the way the current carries the galaxies. Each breath in, a gentle gathering. Each breath out, a soft release, a sinking, a drifting a little further down. You do not have to breathe deeply, or in any special way. Just let the breath come and go on its own, slow and soft and easy, and let each out breath draw you a little deeper into the warm dark, the way the great slope draws the galaxies a little deeper toward the valley. In, and out, and down. In, and out, and down. There is nothing else to do. There is nothing else to be. Only the breath, and the drifting, and the quiet. And let every part of you that is still holding on, quietly let go. The last little tension in the jaw, let it go. The last little tightness in the hands, let it go. The last faint effort anywhere in your body, let it soften, and release, and drain away, down and out, until there is nothing left holding you anywhere, and you are entirely loose, entirely soft, entirely carried. Held by the bed. Held by the earth. Held by the great gentle current of everything. Held, and carried, and free. Rest now. Rest. There is nothing more to see, and nothing more to do, and nowhere else to be. Only here. Only now. Only the soft dark, and the quiet, and your own slow breathing, growing softer, and slower, and further away. And if you are still a little awake, that is perfectly all right. There is no need to hurry toward sleep. It comes on its own, when it is ready, the way the great flow moves, not because anyone wills it, but simply because that is the way of things, gently, endlessly, without effort. So do not reach for sleep, and do not chase it. Just lean into the current, and let it carry you, and let it find you in its own good time. Think of the galaxies, drifting so slowly down the great flow that in a whole human lifetime you would see no change at all, and yet drifting all the same, faithfully, across billions of years, never hurrying, never stopping, simply being carried, patiently, toward the quiet. Let your own slowing toward sleep be like that. Not a rush, not a striving, not a sudden falling, but a slow, patient, gentle drifting, so soft you can barely feel it happen, carrying you a little further down with every breath, until at some moment you will never be able to name, you are simply there, and asleep, and gone into the quiet. There is no line to cross, no door to pass through, no effort to make. Sleep is not a place you arrive at. It is a current you drift down, exactly as our galaxy drifts down toward the Great Attractor, slowly, endlessly, gently, drawn by something quiet and vast, in no hurry at all. So drift. Just drift. Lean into the soft downward pull, and let every breath carry you a little further, and trust the current to take you all the way down, in its own time, as it has taken you every night of your life. Let each breath out be a little longer, a little slower, than the one before. Not forced. Only allowed. Breathe in, gently, and let it go, and feel your whole body sink another small amount toward rest, drawn down by something as patient and as sure as gravity itself. And let your mind grow as wide and as quiet as the space between the galaxies, that vast, gentle emptiness through which the great currents flow. There is so much room out there. So much silence. Let your mind be like that, not empty in a cold way, but open and spacious and calm, with nothing that needs to happen, and no one asking anything of you, and all the room in the world simply to rest. If a thought drifts by, let it be a distant galaxy, sliding slowly down the current, far away, no concern of yours. You do not have to follow it. You do not have to do anything about it. Let it drift on, down the great flow, over the horizon and gone. And feel, one last time, how you are held and carried. You are lying still, in a warm bed, in a quiet room, and you are moving, faster than anything you could imagine, on a current 500 million light-years wide, along with 100,000 galaxies, all of you flowing gently together toward the same hidden heart. You are not alone in the drifting. All of Laniakea drifts with you tonight, every galaxy leaning the same way, every one of them carried by the same silent pull, none of them afraid, none of them hurrying, all of them simply flowing, softly, through the dark. You are one small warm droplet in that great gentle current. Let it carry you. Let it carry you all the way down into sleep. Somewhere out in the dark, 100,000 galaxies are drifting silently down the great current toward a hidden heart they will never reach, and they are in no hurry at all, and they do not need you to watch. And somewhere, in the great veil of our own galaxy, hidden clusters glow softly in light no eye can see, drawing everything gently toward them, patient as they have been for billions of years. And somewhere the great void yawns, vast and empty and still, quietly pushing us on. And everywhere, the unseen sea of dark matter holds the whole great structure in its gentle grip, silent, invisible, faithful. And through it all, the great currents flow, slow and smooth and endless, carrying the galaxies, carrying the stars, carrying the sun and the earth and you, softly, through the dark, toward the quiet, and none of it makes a sound, and none of it hurries, and none of it needs anything from you at all. You may let all of it go on without you now. You have seen it, and wondered at it, and been carried by it, and now you may close your eyes on all of it and simply rest, and let the great silent flow carry you the rest of the way down, into sleep, as it will carry you all through the night, and be carrying you still when you wake. Let the last of your thoughts drift away now, one by one, down the great current, growing smaller and softer and quieter, until there are none left, and there is only the warm dark, and the slow breath, and the gentle endless drawing down. You do not have to hold a single thing. Not the day, not the journey, not one word of all we have spoken. Let it all drift away, gently, down the flow, and leave you empty and soft and weightless, carried on the great slow current toward the deep quiet floor of sleep. Feel yourself sinking now, slow and soft, like a small stone settling through still water, drawn gently downward by a pull as old as gravity, in no hurry at all, turning slowly as you go, deeper and deeper into the warm dark, until you come to rest at last on the soft quiet floor of sleep, and lie there, easy, and still, and held, and carried, and at peace. There is nowhere further to fall. There is nothing left to do. There is only rest, deep and warm and complete, wrapping softly around you, drawing you down the last little way, into sleep. Let your breathing be the slowest, softest thing in the room now. In, so gently you can barely feel it begin. And out, long and slow and complete, like a sigh at the very end of a long day. And in the small quiet space after the breath flows out, before the next one comes, let there be a little pool of stillness, and let yourself rest in it. There is no hurry for the next breath. It will come on its own. Let each pause between the breaths grow a little longer, a little softer, a little deeper, as you drift down. And let your body grow so heavy, so warm, so still, that it seems to lose its edges, so that you can barely tell where you end and the bed begins, where the bed ends and the dark begins, where you end and the great gentle current begins. It is all one soft flowing dark now, carrying you, and you are dissolving into it gently, the way a single drop dissolves into a great slow river, the way a single galaxy dissolves into the great flowing basin, the way a waking mind dissolves, softly, into sleep. There is nothing to hold on to, and nothing you need to hold on to, because the current is holding you. The earth holds you, and turns you gently through the night. The sun holds the earth, and sweeps it around the galaxy. The galaxy holds the sun, and falls with it down the great slope. And the whole immeasurable heaven holds the galaxy, and flows with it toward the quiet heart of everything. Every layer of it, holding you, carrying you, flowing with you, all the way down. You are held by the whole universe tonight, and carried by the whole universe, and you have only to let go, and be carried, and sleep. You do not have to keep anything flowing. You do not have to steer, or reach, or arrive. The great currents will flow all night without you. The galaxies will drift on without your watching. The Great Attractor will pull, and never need you to feel it. And you may finally, completely, let go of the day, of the watching, of the holding, of the knowing, and simply rest, and be carried, and drift, and sleep. There is no distance left to cross tonight. No current left to follow. No mystery left to solve. You have drifted to the heart of one of the great riddles of the cosmos and back again, and now there is nothing left to do but rest. Let your thoughts slow, and thin, and drift apart, like the last faint galaxies scattering into the dark at the edge of the void, until there is only clear quiet dark, and the slow soft sound of your own breathing, carrying you down. If you are still a little awake, do not mind it in the least. Sleep is already near, you can feel it, perhaps, at the edges, the way the room has softened, the way your body has grown distant and heavy, the way your thoughts have begun to blur and wander and drift. That is sleep, coming for you, in its own gentle time, drawn to you as surely as the galaxies are drawn down the flow. You do not have to reach for it. You have only to keep drifting, and let it close softly over you when it is ready, the way the dark closes gently over a galaxy as it slips down the current and out of sight. Drift now. Sink now. Down the great gentle current, in no hurry at all, toward the quiet, toward the deep, toward sleep. The journey is over. The long way home is behind you. There is only this, the warm bed, the slow breath, the soft dark, and the endless gentle pull, drawing you down into rest as it draws the whole immeasurable heaven toward its hidden heart. Let it draw you. Let it carry you. Let it take you softly all the way down. Sleep now. You are safe. You are held. You are home. And you are carried. And all is well. And all is quiet. And all is calm. Rest, and drift, and sleep.